Good day to all of you YouTubers. This is Roaming Prepper. I was hoping to do a live stream this afternoon, Tuesday, June 8th, for news and current events for Talk Show Tuesday, but I had a change in my work schedule and I may have to be in the field. That being said, I will likely be tied up or somewhere where I can't talk to folks. So I'm going to pre-record this one. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it anyway. And I will be live on Saturday. I do premiere a more technical video, like a review or something, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, which would be 8 on the East Coast. So I'm going to get started, but thank you all for your patience today. You know how it is, you got to pay the bills kind of thing. But in any case, I got some really interesting news that's popped up today, and I want to share it with all of y'all because it's just, some of this is just bizarre. So first and foremost, oh, hold on here. There we go. So I'm going to share a screen with all of you all. So let's start with international news with China. Hold on just a second here. So recently, some U.S. senators wound up going to Taiwan to visit the nation there. And China has said the U.S. senators visiting Taiwan on a military plane were a provocation. Now, all of y'all know that the United States military has several bases there. So, sorry, my camera's a little crooked. So Senator Tammy Duckworth, who's a Democrat, Dan Sullivan, a Republican, Chris Coons, another Democrat, went to visit. So it was both parties went to visit Taiwan to show our support for this ally. Now, I applaud the Biden administration for doing that. It reinforces that we do follow up with our commitments. But of course, China's defense ministry immediately got puffed up and said that it is a vile political provocation, which is pretty serious. This one came from Reuters, and let's see. He said the U.S. senators visited Taiwan by military plane, using the Taiwan issue to engage in a political show, challenging the One China principle, and trying to use Taiwan to control China. This is extremely vile political provocation. The United States, like most countries, has, according to this article, has no formal diplomatic ties with Taiwan, but is its strongest international backer. This is that's a hot spot right there, so y'all need to pay attention to that. China has been ramping up both its navy and its missile capability, and the missile capability is interesting because they've got not nukes per se, but ballistic conventional weapons that can be launched at bases in Japan, the Philippines, as far as Guam, which is where some of our strategic stuff is. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Hopefully it doesn't involve missiles hitting Guam or Hawaii or something like that. But yeah, China not so happy with us right now. They were somewhat salty about that fun. You could check that article out on Reuters. It is under China says U.S. senators visiting Taiwan was a vile provocation. So that's interesting. That's a good one. We've got another piece of international news I thought you guys would love to hear about. And let's go to that one right now. That one is, there we go. Sorry about that weird blinking thing. IAEA urges Iran to explain uranium traces at sites. That is the International Atomic Energy Agency. It's basically the NRC of the UN. They monitor and help countries develop peaceful atomic power and whatnot. But they said there was a lot of nuclear material or contaminated equipment at several locations, and it seriously affects the ability of the agency to provide assurance of the peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program. I think most of us would agree Iran is not pursuing a per se peaceful program. Unfortunately, they're also friends with North Korea, who already has figured out atomic weapons. and Iran has an economic capability with its money. So that's a dangerous combination. That's another hot spot to watch. They do post, if you see in that article there, and let me expand it a little bit so y'all can see. Iran nuclear crisis, the basics. World powers do not trust Iran. Also, a deal was struck in 2015, and then the Trump administration backed out of it and instead imposed really horrendous sanctions on that country. Even though Joe Biden wants to rejoin, both sides say the other must make the first move. So the sanctions remain in place, and Iran is moving forward. I do hear reports that their economy domestically has been really affected by this because we're hammering them on trade, and countries that are aligned with us are being discouraged to trade with them. So the cost of living has gone up there. There have been some protests in the street that you're not hearing about on American media, but I've seen on international news. But a lot of that winds up, how shall we say, going under the rug. They usually crack down on the students and break it up, and then they have another protest 6 months later. So that whole Middle East situation is not very good, and it's going to be a bit of a problem over time. So, got a couple of more articles for the international stuff, and I'm going to share that next screen here. Let's go to. Oops. So hold on a second here, folks. Having a technical issue. So this one's coming from the Associated Press, and let's share that screen here in a minute. Do that. Ta-da. And there we go. Israel has found a possible link between Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine and myocarditis. I don't know if I said that right. An Israeli military paramedic prepares a COVID-19 vaccine in that little picture there. The health ministry has said it found a small number of heart inflammation cases among young men who received the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Now, my understanding of the vaccine, the Pfizer and Moderna, this messenger RNA, you're injected with it, and it encourages your cells to make the spike protein that is found in COVID. Then your antibodies remove the protein from your cells. This is different from Johnson & Johnson, which is doing more like a flu shot type of approach. They're not trying to absolutely prevent you from getting COVID. They just don't want you to die from it. So they took a inert adenovirus, which is basically a naturally occurring virus that you find in like saliva and stuff. It really doesn't do anything. It's just there. And they embed it with the protein protocol, if you will, in the lab. Then they inject you with this virus that has the protein in it. Your antibodies see this foreign protein and it attacks that. And now it has learned that that protein and that virus is an enemy. Your own body doesn't make the protein. They get the spike protein. They give you the spike protein in the cell, in that adenovirus, and your body attacks it. They use a very similar method for polio vaccine and flu and measles and stuff like that, which is already a well-established science. So Israel is finding that this is causing, in cases, the cases typically occurred after the second dose, which we've all heard that the second dose kind of kicks people's butts. Patients would develop mild illness, chest pain, shortness of breath, and rapid heart palpitations. There's Pfizer told Reuters it is aware of the findings and meets to discuss new findings with governments. They're saying there's no causal link between the vaccine and heart inflammation, which is an inflammation of the heart muscle that can occur following certain infections. So with 300 million doses of Pfizer 19 vaccine administered globally, the benefit-risk profile to our vaccine remains positive. It is still a small percentage, but keep in mind this vaccine may react poorly in some people. So, uh, again, not pro or con the vaccine. This is another finding. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of people have been saved by taking this. So, y'all weigh the information. But that's interesting that Israel, of all countries, has found this connection here. So, uh, international news has been kind of interesting. Uh, Maybe it's good that it's a little bit more generic this week. It's a lot of political puffery and science news, as opposed to, and there's a corgi that's angry in the background, as opposed to violence and fighting. I think we could do with a little less of that. Speaking of fighting, let's move to the news I got from Esquire, the bastion of news. And you guys know I try to take news from a variety of sources, but um, I don't know how much of a news agency these cats are. According to this person, we are inching toward actual violence over access to water. Now, you'd think they're talking about Africa, you know, Asia, somewhere where there's a lot of poverty and no infrastructure. But no, um, they're saying that the Hoover Dam is losing its reason for being. Now, for the record, I have physically gone to the Hoover Dam not 3 weeks ago on a trip to Nevada, and you could see where the water level was to where it is now on the rock. You can actually see it in this photo. I don't know if I can blow that photo up, but all that white you see right here on the side of the dam is actually the water line. So it's pretty low. It's kind of shocking. Now, I don't think it's supposed to be way the hell up here either, but it was low. Um, I don't know why they're not getting rain, but it said for more than 8 decades, the iconic Hoover Dam has relied on water from Nevada's Lake Mead to cover its backside. But now at age 85, it finds itself uncomfortably exposed. Much of the water the dam is supposed to be holding back is gone. So there, for the first time ever, the federal government is expected to declare a water shortage emergency on the lower Colorado River, which will affect Nevada and Arizona. Homeowners will get priority, which means it will impact farms. Now, we've all been hearing Ice Age Farmer, Think Gray, Angry, even the Homestead guys, Six Shooter, Reverend Orville, Asymmetric, they're talking about having food preps. This is another hit our food supply could take here domestically if they can't find a fair resolution. According to one farmer, the water to grow his corn and alfalfa fields comes from Lake Mead. If we don't have irrigation water, we can't farm, he said. So next year, we're going to get about 25% less water, which means we're going to have to fallow or not plant 25% of our land. That's another hit on the corn supply, which is a staple in a lot of countries, especially here. So this is interesting. So we've had the JBS hack. We have these human actors screwing with us, and now we have nature kind of giving us a kick in the butt on the side. There's also been reports of fish kills and other issues in that area. Now, I don't know why they put the dramatic news of, oh, we're going to be violent over water. Although if it gets bad enough, I mean, people were fighting over toilet paper. Come on, people fight over damn Walmart TVs for Black Friday. So yeah, I mean, I could see them fighting over water, but we're not there yet. So it's a little bit of a dramatic article, probably meant to scare people. But it's important note, and I like to read some of this fringe stuff because sometimes it actually does something. It actually gives you that tidbit of information. I saw personally, I have a photo of me in front of the dam on the bridge, and you could see how low the water line was. But tying it together with the fact that it could affect food production and give us yet another hit on our food supply after the Colonial Pipe hack, after the JBS hack, after the freeze. Oh, guess what? Now we're going to have less corn production on the western half of the U.S. That's important to know. So y'all pay attention to this. A lot of preparedness folks are preaching it. Pay attention because this stuff's interesting. Um, but we do have some good news, and it's kind of comical. I'm going to share that. That'll be my last little article for this little stream here. Come on now. There we go. Bam. U.S. recovers millions from pipeline ransom because the hackers made a mistake. The U.S. has recovered much of the ransom payment that the Russian hacker group DarkSide extorted from Colonial earlier this year. Apparently, they requested 63.7 Bitcoin, which was about 2.3 million. Or no, they forgot to move the money from account A to account B, or they didn't do it fast enough. So the feds were able to track the Bitcoin, got into their account, and took half, if not a little bit more of the money back from DarkSide. So now, personally, I think that they probably also sent some operators in a Blackhawk, and those DarkSide guys are probably dead in Romania somewhere. But that's just me watching too many movies. In either case, they did look that like they took back some money. Now that's interesting too, because now they can also, it kind of tips people off that, hey, we can track your butt too. So you hack stuff, we might come after you and take care of your butt. DarkSide hacked the Colonial in April as part of a month-long crime spree, leading the company to shut down operation. The group demanded 4.4 million ransom, which the company paid. The pipeline system came back online 5 days after the initial hack. Ransomware attacks are always unacceptable, but when they target critical infrastructure, we will spare no effort nor response. Ransomware gangs are responsible for more than 1,000 hacks worldwide this year. I'm assuming they mean big ones, not like somebody hacked somebody's iPad or something. Most attacks are on smaller targets, but the Colonial hack was the first to have a direct effect on everyday American life. I will tell you, the Biden administration is pondering declaring hacks on infrastructure as a national security threat and possibly an act of war as opposed to simply a criminal act. That can spin one of two ways. On the one hand, it ups the penalty if you do that and cause, especially if you cause death. For instance, if they hacked the grid and dropped Chicago in the middle of January winter, where it's going to be cold for 2 months and people start dying in apartments, that might be almost an act of war. On the flip side, the feds will be up in everybody's business online, which they already are. But in any case, we'll see where that goes. But the Biden administration did not like this. The Republicans didn't like it. The Democrats didn't like it. That's some dangerous stuff. You think the pipeline hack was bad on gas prices. Imagine them hacking the electrical grid in New York City during a heat wave. So grid scary, but it looks like the good guys won a little bit here. So I'm kind of impressed. I still believe the hackers are dead somewhere because either the Americans or the British or somebody went out there after they stole the Bitcoin and shot them all in their office. But that's just me watching Tom Clancy movies. Well, gang, that would be the end of this little stream. I hope you guys are all doing well. Again, apologies for the change of presentation, so to say. Until I see you next time, Godspeed if you're on the road or you and yours are on the road. In the meantime, don't forget to stock up, pay attention, learn something new every day if you can, and help someone out if they're willing to learn. Until next time, y'all take care.